Hello, my stamping friends. This is Renae Novak at BlessedByCards.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, and I'm here today with another Make It Monday tutorial. Today, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into one of the sets that's coming up in the January to June 2022 catalog. And that set is called Amazing Silhouettes. And I am going to share with you a card and a different technique for each one of these stamps. So let's get started. So I'm bringing in the Stamparatus because for this first technique, which is more of a layering of colors, I would like to use the Stamparatus so I can always have my tree come back down exactly in the same spot. Okay. So what I'm going to share with you is this card that I created, and we are going to, I don't know if you can see that, we are going to do this layering color effect on this one stamp to give it some depth. And the colors that I used are crumb cake, soft suede, and just jade. So you're going to start out on this first card with a piece that measures 2 3/4 by 5. I'm going to start out with the lightest color, which is crumb cake, and I'm using a sponge dauber because I found that gave the softest look. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of pouncing that color in the crumb cake, and I'm going around the outline of the stamp itself. I'm using kind of a medium pressure. It depends on how sauced up your crumb cake is. I do believe mine needs to have a little ink added, so I might be pressing a little firmer than you need to. So after you get some of that all along, just want to stamp that down with your Stamparatus, give it a little massage, and there you have a little tiny outline of that stamp. And you can go back, like I said, depending on how much of an outline you want. And that is the beauty of the Stamparatus positioner. It will go right back on, and as you see, it's getting a little more darker. And then I'm just putting some on this left side. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in the darker color. You can either use soft suede or early espresso. I am using the soft suede, and I'm just going to take it a little bit around the very, very outside edges, just to kind of give that a little more depth all around that outside. And again, I'm just pressing it down with the Stamparatus, and as you can see, it is starting to come to life. So now what I want to do is I want to take my Just Jade and my sponge dauber for that, and I'm going to put that in the center where the actual tree is. And you just want to just lightly daub on, because you can always go back and add more color with the Stamparatus. And it really depends on the look that you're going for. And so I'm just going to push that down on there, stamp that on, get a little more up here at the top. And now you're seeing that tree starting to come to life. And that is how simple that layering technique is. And then for the greeting along the bottom, I simply have my greeting already positioned across the bottom, and I'm just going to sauce up that greeting right there and stamp it right down. Now ideally I would have my other plate instead of pressing on this dirty one, but you get the idea of how to create that greeting. So let me bring back in the card for you so you can see. And here it is. I just layered it up. Again, I did the outside a little bit darker, and then I layered it on some Just Jade, and then I put it on a crumb cake. Now, I did run this crumb cake through the timber embossing folder in just the front panel, and created that sweet little card. Okay, so the second card that I've got for you is using this leaf one. And that one is simply just stamping directly on with your pad. I used mint macaron for this one, and all I did was I just stamped up that ink directly onto the pad. So that one is pretty simple. Layered it up with some Just Jade Black, added some organdy and a little greeting, and the second card was just directly inked to the stamp. And the last card with the technique I use for this is I took a piece of just basic white. Mine's a little bit smaller, but you're going to take it to fit your card front, 4 by 5 1/4. And I used 3 different colors. I used the Fresh Freesia, the Just Jade, and Daffodil Delight. And all I did was I just kind of like did this really soft swirling motion around all around my cardstock to give it like a marbled effect. And you just kind of swirl, do some swirlies and twirlies. It depends on how much you want. You can always go back in. So I was kind of generous with my lighter color. And you can always go back in and make it darker if you want some more pink on there. Okay, so that's Fresh Freesia. Then I came in with a little Just Jade. And this one I just did real lightly because it's a darker color. You want to just swirl it around with that dauber to give it kind of a marble effect. And then I came in with the Daffodil Delight and added some yellow. And you can add as much yellow or as little depending on how much of a highlight of yellow you would like. And if you want to come back in with your purple and add it to be a little darker, then you know you can go around that Just Jade image, and then it really does start to come to life to have that like marbled effect on your paper. So that's what that looks like. Bring in my sample. I did it all across the card front. Now for the technique for the butterfly is I took some basic black ink. Let me just shut these up real quick before I make a mess. And I brought in my basic black with, again, a sponge dauber. And I inked up that sponge dauber. And I just went around the very outside edge of that butterfly because I just wanted him to be barely highlighted. I didn't want the whole thing to be black. So I just kind of went around those edges all around. And ideally you would do this again with a Stamparatus so that you could reposition it. But for this purpose, I'm just showing you how to go around the very edges. And then you just stamp it on there, and that's how you get that really soft outline of the butterfly. Bring back in my sample again. And there you have it. Very sweet little butterflies, just barely outlined. And I added some black, matte black dots and a little greeting at the bottom. That is a sneak peek into the amazing silhouette stamp set that is coming in the January to July 2022 catalog. So that's my Make It Monday tutorial. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with your friends so you don't miss any future videos. And until next time, be blessed.